If you're hitting boost on platform in Instagram on your reels and hoping and praying it's going to hit the right people, just stop. We're going to teach you a better way to run reach ads, also now actually called boosted ads in the Meta Business Center, that's going to target the right people and make sure your audience is primed to buy.
For those people who are on and maybe new to this term boosting, why wouldn't they want to boost? They're like, but it's in the platform, Greta. It's super simple. All I have to do is click one button. And now they even say I can, quote unquote, target people on Instagram. Why do they not want to do this?
Yeah, so when you're boosting on platform, first of all, the way your budget is allocated is completely different than if you're running through the Meta Business Suite. So typically, and if you've ever hit that boost button, you know, they'll tell you how much per day you have to spend in order for that post, that boosted post, to actually get results. And it's usually about 20 times more than what you would spend if you were running your reach ads through the Meta Business Suite.
Is there a time when I would want to boost?
I'm gonna have to go with no. Only because, so first of all, most of the time when you're gonna hit that boost, like I said, you're gonna misspend your money. But also, even if you think you can hit your target audience, it just doesn't utilize the same structure that's in ads. You're not getting the most out of Andromeda. You're not feeding your pixel in the same way. Just in general, you're basically doing something half-ass.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was hoping you'd say, is you're not getting any information for yourself and your business, like Greta said, for the pixel. You're only giving information to Meta. You're only giving information to Instagram. And for those of you who are watching this who don't know, but like Facebook and Instagram, even though they are quote unquote social platforms, are really data platforms. And
Yes.
Their goal is to just gather data for them. But when you run through the Meta Business Suite, you're gathering data for yourself to be able to use in the future. And so you're just wasting money that you could be using towards the business suite. And the only time I've ever seen people boost ads is if they just like really wanted a ton of views on a certain post right away. There was no like monetary reason like to gain from that. Like they weren't hoping to make money. That wasn't their goal in order to, like, if they were using the boost feature.
Yeah, and I think if you've watched any of our other videos where we talk about reach ads, we're really strategic about the posts that we're choosing to boost. And ultimately, we want to create like a holistic picture of you, your business, the transformation you offer, and showcase testimonials. And if you had to pay to boost each one of those posts, you would end up spending a ton of money. Like you might as well just run a full-on ad strategy at that point, because you're going to be spending $5 to $10 per day per post.
Okay, Greta, so now that I know we're not boosting, I've decided, hey, you've decided, you watching this have decided, hey, I want to run a reach campaign for the very first time. The good news is they don't have to be the best ad copywriter in the world. So what do they need to do to run their first reach ad?
So the first thing you're going to want to do is get familiar with your Meta Insights tab. That will tell you all of your top performing content. Now, there's a ton of different ways to look at what is considered top performing content. But what we're typically looking at is saves and shares, because that shows a really high level of engagement, Judy. And then for Reels, we want to choose ones that have a high through play, meaning people watched a lot of that video. And you might be thinking, this content already did well. Why am I going to put money behind something that's already done well? But here's the thing. If it did well with your warm audience, meaning people who have already chosen to be followers, then what Andromeda is going to do is say, ooh, these people liked this. Let me find more people who are like that person, and they're going to bring them into your world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying I don't have to decide anything other than my top performing posts, and Meta is going to help me determine my audiences.
Correct.
Okay, super simple. So how long does setting up their first reach ad usually take?
Now, Judy, you don't typically spend time doing anything really behind the scenes with ads. And that's by design. Judy and I often talk about how we're each other's other half of the brain. And so while she's training the team, I'm very much in the day-to-day. I'm the person who is working like directly with our media buyer and getting things set up. But Judy, even you have gone in and set up a reach campaign, mostly because you wanted to prove it could be done. And I think it probably only took you 30 minutes to get, I think it was about 6 different posts running for reach ads. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that sounds exactly right. And I am one of those CEOs who are like, hey, if I'm going to ask you to do something, I'm at least someone who's going to do it myself once. And so it was like, hey, we're going to train these new VAs to come and do reach and awareness ads, right? So that way our team, people like you and our media buyer can focus on, other campaigns like the lead, generation campaigns. And so I was like, you know what, before we give it to our VAs, let me do the SOP. And you're right, it took me 30 minutes and I had you and our media buyer review it, and there wasn't like anything that really needed changed. So, and it actually performed really well too.
It did perform really well. And so I think you also just pointed out, this is a great way, not only can it take you as the business owner 30 minutes, but this is something that you can easily train your VA on. And so we typically are cycling through new content every 2-ish weeks. Sometimes we'll do it sooner, especially if somebody has a new offer coming out and they've been creating really awesome content around that offer. We'll cycle that in sooner before we move to a lead gen campaign. But in theory, you could have your VA adding new reach campaigns every 2 weeks.
How soon should they change their reach campaigns? You just said, depending on their offer. So if I know I'm going to launch a new offer in a month, when should those how soon should those reach campaigns start going into effect?
Yeah, so we typically with our clients will do a minimum of 2 weeks where we're running reach ads that somehow relate to the offer that we're gonna run lead gen or straight to sale ads for. But even up to a month works because it's basically just getting your content in front of your people. And if you think about it, they used to say you needed 7 touch points for somebody to make a buying decision. But in today's marketing economy, it's really more like 700 because we're constantly being shown new images. Me and Judy talk about this a lot. Is if you think about even like Amazon, right? Like Amazon's like a multi-billion-dollar company and they're advertising their Prime Days like a month in advance. They're putting like Prime Days is coming on the sides of their boxes. So if Amazon has to do it, I promise you, you have to too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's something that I really want to point out here is that if you're probably thinking, Judy and Greta, you're talking a lot about social media. And if your ad agency isn't asking you about what you have coming up, your social media content plan, offers and funnels that you're running, then they're probably not going to be an ad agency that, we wouldn't prefer to run towards, because ads should, of course, amplify what you're already doing organically. And if they're not curious about what you're doing organically, then they're probably one of those that just care about cost per lead and they don't care about, the back end of your funnel.
Yeah, for sure. When we're looking at our strategies, like now, when we're working with clients, we're mapping 3 months in advance what the offer is going to be. And then we're actually helping to talk through with you what are some like posts that you can do, reels you can do. We're not running your social media by any means, but it's a very much a give and take relationship or a working together relationship.
Yeah, for sure. They shouldn't be saying 2 different things. So your social media, it's marketing. Your marketing teams should be talking to each other and having the same message, and that way your audience doesn't get confused. Oftentimes clients come to us and they're like, hey, I let my ad agency go because whatever they were posting on ads wasn't even me. It didn't sound or feel like me.
Yeah.
Either.
And you know what else is, I think for us, we do such a good job of educating our clients on how reach ads play into the overall strategy. It's really easy to get caught up in, I want to have credit for everything that we're doing. And we definitely are able to show a return on ad spend for every campaign that we're running that's supposed to have a return on ad spend. But also, I'm not afraid to run reach ads to something that's going to get a sale where we talk to people and they're like, I'm selling more of this thing than I've ever sold before. And it's not all quote unquote coming from ads because we can't see the direct attribution. But when you're running reach ads to something that then gets sold, it's all interconnected, right?
Yeah, for sure. So to wrap this up, Greta, what is something that they need to do right away if they want to run reach ads next week?
If you want to run reach ads next week, I would sit down and spend the next hour thinking through social media you can post over the next week that really is high quality content that talks about the next offer you want to sell. And we didn't really get into this too much, but we do talk about it a ton. Utilize SEO rich terminology. And if you're not sure what that is, make sure to grab our guide, our Simplicity Social Media Guide that's linked below, because it walks through exactly how to incorporate SEO into your social media content.
That's free, by the way, so I'd grab it right now. And if you like this video, then hit that subscribe button so you can be alerted of more videos just like this.